Recently I played through Doom with Heaven, and these are our real thoughts after finishing the game. Basically, all the criticisms I'm going to have for Doom 2016 are addressed in Doom Eternal. So there's things like, oh, I don't feel as fast when I'm strafing. Well, then they got the strafe boost or whatever it's called
Dash.
in Doom Eternal. The dash, yeah. And then there's like, oh, there's sections where I wish I could get closer to an enemy faster. Well, they got the meat hook in Doom Eternal. Just little things like that where going back to Doom 2016, when I played Doom 2016 originally, I didn't know I wanted that stuff. But now having played Eternal, it was just like, I just want to go play Doom Eternal. I just, like, it's not that I didn't enjoy my time with 2016, because I had a blast. The first time I played through Doom 2016 was on PS4 when it came out, and I actually gave up about halfway through the game because I got bored. Even though I really enjoyed it, I felt it got a little repetitive. This time going through, I didn't have that same problem. I'm not even sure where I got bored originally, but I blasted through it. I had so much fun, despite me being kind of an idiot in a couple of places. There was one place I got lost for like 20 minutes, but that was because I'm colorblind, which I'll get to. But yeah, I had such a blast with this game, especially after having played so many bad, completely accurate summary games. Like, I didn't enjoy my time with Call of Duty Black Ops. I didn't enjoy my time with Halo 5. And then, if you've ever played through just the story of Dying Light, that is a fucking nightmare. It's not fun at all. Like, I'll get into this in the Dying Light Real Thoughts, so to just keep that in mind. But Doom is, and I'm going to say something stupid here, and then elaborate on what I mean, but Doom 2016 is a game. That's like one of those fucking games journalist taglines, like, it really makes you feel like Batman. Yeah, no. Doom 2016 is a game, first and foremost, which is great because it just gets you into playing the game immediately. Like, you're playing the game when you hit start within like 5 seconds. Like, you wake up, you bash a demon's head in, and then you're playing. And any of the times in this game where it stops you to throw lore at you is honestly really weird, because it had such a big emphasis on just letting you play the game that any of the times where it just has to lock you in a little room where you have to listen to somebody talk, it's like, what the fuck is going on? And again, this was addressed in Doom Eternal, so this criticism is basically out of date because id Software knows. id Software knew, and they fixed it. So like, in Doom Eternal, they straight up just go with cutscenes. So there's moments where you can just put your keyboard down and be like, all right, I'm just going to enjoy this cutscene after I've gone through all this grueling stuff. Whereas in 2016, it's like, it's still player engagement because you've got control over your player even though you can't go anywhere. It's like, that's boring. They knew it. They figured that out. The weapon sandbox as well was also fixed with Doom Eternal. I feel like in 2016, they wanted to go back to that whole, huge weapon wheel of weapons that Doom has always had. But every weapon is like, this weapon does slightly more damage than this other weapon, so there's less ammo for it. And that works for a certain amount, but it doesn't really stick with you over time, where Doom Eternal has a very clear weapon archetypes and what they do to enemies. So it's like, I want to deal with this cacodemon by shooting a grenade from my shotgun into its mouth, or this other demon, I'm going to pull out my ballista and break off some of its armor, or I'll use the sticky bomb from the shotgun to grab the Arachnotron's turret at the back of it and blow it off. So all that works a lot better in Eternal. I don't think it's bad or anything in 2016. It just feels like version 1 where they fixed it in version 2, because that's basically Doom Eternal overall, is they fixed it in version 2.
You said a few things that I want to touch on. One thing is gameplay. Is I've played modern Doom and older Doom now, and along with, I'm a huge Halo fan and play other games. The modern Dooms are a breath of fresh air as far as gameplay. And that's new to me because I do love playing games for the story and the lore, and that's great and all. And you're always talking about, correctly, hey, if it's not fun, I don't want to play it. And I had that problem with Knights of the Old Republic 2, is that the lore was interesting, but the gameplay was just awful.
Well, you gotta preface this here that this isn't random. You just played through Knights of the Old Republic 2, which is why you're bringing it up.
Yes.
We're not just randomly shitting on Knights of the Old Republic 2.
Which I love the first one, but the second one was a slog. So to come to a game where it's fun first, just have fun with blaring music and an array of guns to blast through guts and blood and demons is just so much fun. I guess I had forgotten what it was like to have good, fun gameplay where the movement was cool, the enemies were cool, the guns were cool, the environments were cool, and it was really nice to get back to that.
Yeah, especially just complete player freedom. There's no quick time events. There's no, well, I mean, that's about it. There's no quick time events. I fucking hate quick time events. Another thing was the way that they characterize Doomguy without having him ever speak. You still get a lot of that personality of Doomguy by very subtle little camera movements during cutscenes, or the way that he just does not give a shit what Sam is saying. Sam? It's Sam, right?
Dr. Samuel Hayden.
Hayden, yeah. I was calling him Sam through the entire playthrough as a joke, but then I forgot his name.
Exactly.
So yeah, Samuel Hayden. Samuel Hayden like keeps telling you direct instructions, and Doomguy's like, "Fuck you! I'm gonna do what I want. I have the agency." So it's not somebody telling you what to do. Sometimes you happen to be doing things that Samuel wants you to do, but that's not because you're doing it for him. They just happen to be in the way, and Doomguy wants to do this. So you feel very much like the main character is the one driving the story, because he is, and especially in Doom Eternal as well. There are so many characters that are like, don't be doing this, you can't be doing this, and Doomguy's like, fuck you, I'm doing what I want. And so with 2016, there's little subtle things. It's like, oh, Samuel is like, oh, we had to do this for the greater good of humanity or whatever, and you just look down at a corpse in an elevator. It's like, you know exactly what Doomguy is saying, even though they're not showing his face, even though he doesn't ever speak. And that's I talked about this in Real Thoughts for Halo 4. That was what was missing for the characterization of Master Chief, which they've shown off a little bit of for Infinite, which I'm really excited about. So that sort of thing characterizes Doomguy, and you know exactly what he stands for. It's like, he wants to rip and fucking tear, and that's what he's gonna do. And it's so much fun to do that because they made it fun again.
And that's just professional level writing, to have a character not say anything, but show it through their actions. I love watching movie breakdowns and critical analysis on what made it really good or what made it really bad. And I've seen that as a big issue in some movies and media in general, right? Where it's just external events driving the main character, and it's like they're along for the ride, and that's about it. Instead, we're going out and proactively changing the story and saying, this needs to happen. I'm going to do this. Screw these demons. I don't care what it does to anything else. I'm going to save humanity. And that's exactly what the Doomslayer does. And it's really fun because, back to the really good writing, you can tell that's exactly what he's thinking without him really talking at all. It's just through context clues and what other people say about him, and you put this picture together of a demigod like he truly is.
And there was also the lore with this game. With 2016, you don't really have to deal with it at all. With Doom Eternal, they go a little bit more into the lore, and you can read about the lore, but like both of the games still have lore that you can read up on and learn by finding secrets and collectibles. But unlike some of the later Halos, where you have to know the lore to understand things, this game just lets you play. So you can learn the lore, and you can look at the extended universe stuff, whatever. I don't know if it counts as extended universe if it's in the game, but not stuff that's told to you directly. It's through collectibles that you can learn things. And I legitimately, the first time I played through this game, I read through some of that stuff because it was like, you know what? I feel like I want to. It doesn't feel like I have to. The only other game that's done that for me is Control, because their lore documents are written by Office invoices, which is fucking hilarious. So it's like supernatural things happening, but it's an Office invoice, which is just like the whole level of, they don't take it they take it seriously. It's not meant as a joke most of the time, and that's what makes it so fucking funny. And Doom in 2016 and Eternal mostly go into why things are happening, where you don't really need to know in this, but you can sort of learn. It's like, because you can follow the plot. It's super simple. It's like, demons are invading, stop demons from invading, close the portal. Like, that's it. It's a very simple plot.
Yeah, and I think I've played through some of the older Dooms, and I don't think that lore is present. I think it is just, right? I'm remembering correctly. It's just rip and tear.
So I think the first Doom doesn't really have extended lore. I think 3 definitely does. I don't know about 2. I think 2 is where they started to do some extended lore stuff that you can find out through somewhere else, but don't quote me on that. I'm not positive. But Doom 2016, definitely they started doing a ton of side stuff, and 2016 is a continuation of the other 3. I don't know how exactly. I'm sure they're like, people in the comment section can comment about this all they like, because I didn't read that stuff, but it doesn't matter. So it's really cool that they've tied it into the other Doom games, but it's also really cool that you don't need to know that. It's not like Halo 4, where you kind of need to know what the hell was going on previously, or Halo 5 especially, but we don't need to be talking about Halo anyways.
They give you all the context that you need. Is, hey, they dug you up, you woke up, the demons are here, time to kill. Yeah, and I don't remember how Doom 3 left off to have led into Doom 2016, and it might not even. I don't think it leaves off with the Doomslayer in hell in some kind of sarcophagus. So there might be, I don't know, a comic or a book that describes it. That being said, the lore adds an extra dimension that's just really fun and really interesting. Oh, dimension, I get it, because hell dimension. To to incorporate that, and Eternal goes so deep. I literally just finished playing Doom Eternal at like 2:30 a.m. last night, so that's fresh on the mind as well. And they took everything that 2016 did well and turned it up to 11. They're just like, let's do it. Let's go all in. Hey, we know that people like Doom in this new decade. Great, let's go for it. That lore puts meaning behind the mechanics and the fights and everything, and brings an environment to life. It makes it really cool to look at a skybox and say, oh, I understand what that is. Here are these souls trapped in cages in hell. Because I paid attention a little more, I understand the context and the meaning behind what's going on here, and it makes it that much cooler.
I also love the not so subtle storytelling that the UAC are fucking nuts. You start off and it's like, okay, it's a little weird that this computer has a setting for demonic invasions and that they have like protocols in place for this, but they are harvesting energy from hell, so like maybe that's kind of understandable. And then it's like, oh no, the UAC are a cult. Like there's people on this base who are like doing human sacrifices to keep this well open, and they're nuts. And there's like pre-recorded messages all over the place about that kind of thing. It's like, oh yeah, make sure you've got your demon sacrificing insurance. It's like, what? And I love that, because it's that right amount of absurdity, but presented in a serious way. It's not presented as it is a joke, obviously, but it's not presented as a joke, which makes it funny, if that makes any sense at all.
Yeah.
That's the kind of humor I love. Just very dry humor. That should be pretty obvious with the way that I do my videos. I deliver in a very dry manner most of the time. Mine are a bit more obviously jokes, but in terms of like, I don't want to just say like, I wish the game had this, or I wish the game had this, because everything I wish this game had, Eternal has. So it's like, just go fucking play Doom Eternal, which I'm going to eventually. I think because Doom 2016, I'm doing this for the 10,000 subscriber special, I'm going to let YouTube comments write the script, and then I'm going to read the script. I may do that as like, if I hit 50,000 or 100,000, whatever, then I'll do that for Doom Eternal again. So it's like a callback. It's like, we did Doom 2016, so you guys get to do Eternal again now, and I just get to have fun playing a game. Because I have so much fun with Doom. If we were to compare Doom to a movie, because you were talking about movies earlier, Doom 2016 is like John Wick, where maybe it's not the best story in the world. It's very simple, but it's all about the action, because the first John Wick is literally just a guy shot his dog, he wants revenge. It's not until the later things that we get into like the lore and stuff. And so Doom Eternal is like John Wick 2, where for better or worse, there's more story, lots more lore, and the action is better. But like it's a little more controversial on whether or not that story is any good, that they added more to it. I know personally I was not super invested into the story of Doom Eternal. Not that there's much to get invested in 2016, but like I was with it. Where like some of the story elements they started throwing into Doom Eternal is like, all right, there's some kind of crazy shit going on here that they keep hitting at, and like I'm not super sold on the idea. So, you know, but you can ignore that because dumb fun action, because it's so fucking fun.
And I'm just the opposite, really into the story, 2016 and especially Eternal. And at this point, we're talking about the story, we're kind of melding the two since it's a continuation. I got really invested in it. It's really cool. They put some concrete facts, and I was going to say logic, but
facts and logic.
Really.
Yeah.
Some facts. They put some. Yeah. They put some real boundaries around what's actually happening and how it's affecting the world. In 2016, they're like, yeah, just some hell dimension. Maybe there's a big bad guy, Satan figure. Maybe not. I don't know.
You want to know what's really weird, too? Is the reason I wanted to play Doom again was because I was watching a bunch of YouTube videos of Hugo Martin talking with a bunch of Doom YouTubers and like having interviews with them about certain design aspects or whatever. They have a map of like all the hell dimensions and like how they connect with each other, which is just like, there's so much. It's like, holy shit. Like, this is stuff I never even knew about that, like, what the fuck?
It's super in-depth and really fun, and there's not much. I realize how ridiculous this is going to sound. There's not much philosophy behind it. There's not much that's thought-provoking about Doom.
Yeah, and it doesn't need to be. Like,
exactly. I mean, there is some corporate criticism, right? The UAC is batshit crazy, and they're totally just. I think in 2016 they were saying, "Oh, it's this one section that's really, really bad, and this one research lady who is opening the portal." And then in Eternal, it's just the whole thing. The whole UAC is corrupt. That being said, it's just good fun. I want to get on some. We've been kind of talking high level conceptual. I'd love to talk about some details. You already mentioned the guns, so I will talk about the guns as well. It looked like there was only 2 or 3 that you ended up using on a consistent basis because you didn't have a niche for the other weapons, which was, fixed in Eternal, but it's worth mentioning the criticisms anyway. And even though you got to, I think that's also worth noting, is you didn't upgrade everything fully. You were doing a rush playthrough. You upgraded what you liked, and that was it.
For anybody who wants to know, I played on Hurt Me Plenty, not Ultraviolence, which I would have normally played on because that's the Doom difficulty. Like, you play on Ultraviolence, or if you're a fucking masochist, you play on Nightmare or Ultra Nightmare. But like Ultraviolence is the sort of way it's meant to be played thing. But even on Hurt Me Plenty, I was dying a lot.
It was a lot.
But it never felt like I was dying, because with Call of Duty Black Ops, I always felt like I was dying because my sensitivity was too wacky, because I couldn't get it correct, or because the levels weren't designed in a way that I was just supposed to sit behind cover and wait and just peek at enemies and whatever. With Doom 2016, when I died, I felt like it was my fault. But in a good way. Not like, it's the game throwing the shit at me that I can't handle. It was like, no, I made a mistake and I'll correct that the next time. Like, when I would lose to a boss fight, it was like, okay, I know exactly what I did wrong, and now I can prepare for that and do it again. So it's almost like the Dark Souls philosophy of how game design is, where they'll throw shit at you and you either get it the first time or you get it the second time, or if you don't get it the second time, you learn more and you just do it again and again until you get better. I think I would have done more again and again on ultraviolence, but for the purposes of CAS, I just didn't hurt me plenty. So most of the time I was able to get through something on my second try. I know for sure Doom Eternal, I was able to get it through on the little later tries. Doom Eternal also has the 1-up system, so you can have a little less punishment for dying. Instead of just resetting you to your checkpoint, you have like a second chance, and that rewards you more for exploring secrets, which was also a thing. Doom 2016, because of the way that the game was played, and maybe it's different on Ultraviolence, again, I didn't need to upgrade everything. I wasn't going to be looking for secrets for the purposes of CAS anyways, but I didn't feel the need to go search for secrets, where for Eternal, they definitely make you feel like you need to go look for secrets, but they also make the secrets in a way that it feels rewarding to go and look for them, not like a chore. It makes you feel smart for finding them.
And then you can do upgrades in Eternal, and I'll get back to 2016 in a minute. I'm just finishing up your thought. They do an upgrade in Eternal where it will automatically show on the map where the secrets are, and then you can find them. But most of the time, if going through a section or a hallway and you just look in a direction that you're not supposed to, like turn around, you'll find a secret, or look up or down, you'll find something. But without those upgrades, you were really stuck with, or you really fell into the habit of a few guns. You didn't use the plasma rifle except for when you were low on ammo. On everything else, the shotgun, rocket launcher, and the chain gun are really all that I remember you using.
Yeah, once I got the upgrade for the chain gun to turn it into like a turret thing, that was just shredding through enemies. So anytime I needed to shred through an enemy, I just did that.
I had to encourage you, like, please use your BFG. Press T. You have it. The ammo. You're not picking up any more ammo.
Yeah, I barely used it. Yeah.
And I think that's also, again, an issue fixed in Eternal. It wasn't part of your main weapon wheel. Is when you went into your weapon wheel, it wasn't there. You had to press a special button to see it. And that may have been an issue. But you got it, and I think used it. You almost didn't use it at all. I thought you were going to use it once when they first tell you to test it out in that room of fodder demons, and then I was placing a bet with myself that you don't use it anymore, and you were quite close.
There were definitely some times that I feel like the game was sort of like, just use your BFG, and I was like, okay, I'll just use the BFG.
Yes. There were. In a way, I can see the pros and cons of it. Like, oh, hey, it's really nice that every gun is capable of taking down every demon, so you don't necessarily feel tied down. But without that dynamic, it feels very flat and vanilla. And I think when comparing 2016 to Eternal, that's exactly what you get. Is 2016 feels like a really nice picture, but in black and white. And then we get another picture in color a few years later, essentially. And that applies to a few things. The design of the enemies is pretty basic and standard amongst all of them.
Yeah, so we can get into this too. I'll let you finish your thought.
I was going to list a few of them, especially the maps and arena layout are kind of small, and the most interesting it gets is maybe they'll throw in a teleporter. Otherwise, it's you just kind of platforming. And so it feels kind of stagnant.
It's kind of weird, the design language of, and when I say language, I mean how they communicate to the player what things are and what things look like. So the design language of 2016 is, if it's health, it's blue. If it's ammo that comes out of the chainsaw, it's tan. If it's shields, it's green. With Eternal, they actually changed that, where the health is still blue most of the time, but it's in like completely different shapes. They actually have the health like potion vials like they had in the original Dooms. They're no longer these kind of high-tech looking blue cylinders. And then larger amounts of health are health packs, like white health packs instead of being blue. So that was a bit of a design difference. I don't know if it's better or worse, but it's a difference. And then they changed some weapons. The plasma rifle in 2016 looks like a kind of like a fancy water gun, but the one in Eternal looks more like how it did in the original Dooms, where it's kind of a square and it's got like a little extendy tube thing on it. So it almost feels like Eternal it was like, okay, we did Doom 2016, and then we're just gonna like look back at the old Dooms instead of 2016 and what we want to do the design elements for, which is fine. And I actually like a lot of the different design elements. I like the more classic looking plasma rifle. I like the enemies looking doofier. I love the goofy eyeball on the cacodemons and the goofy eyeballs on the Revenant. Like, 2016 had that very edgy look to it, and Eternal definitely still does, but also an element of goofiness on top. And then there's silly things like cacodemons will make a gulping sound when you feed them a grenade, or like their eyeball will make a pop sound when you pull it out. That's like a very comical sound. And I know some people didn't like that because Doom 2016 established it as more of an edgy thing, but I think that was really funny.
Yeah, I think with only one game, you can't establish a pattern. If it was already a trilogy and they went to, I say trilogy as in like the new age Doom, if there were 2016, 2018, 2019, then 2020 came out and was different, maybe that would be a bit more foundation or evidence to complain about, but not really. I dislike 2016 because of that. When I first popped in and watched you play, one of the first things we said was, oh my gosh, it's so red. It's really one color tinted. I mean, the demons are red, Mars is red, the environment is red. There was so little color dynamic and pop to everything around you. And even when you got inside, you're like, okay, I'm inside and shit, it's a lava foundry and everything's red again. Shit.
Which doesn't help me because I'm colorblind. I'm red-green colorblind. So I can kind of tell the color red apart from others, but orange, yellow, and green all look kind of yellow to me. And so when we were in the lava foundry, all of the environment looks yellow. And I'm looking for a fucking yellow key card on a body that's highlighted yellow. So I spent 20 minutes wandering, and it wasn't just me, because no one else saw it either. I had to get help from one of the guys who popped in. We couldn't see it. And I don't remember having that problem ever in Eternal. I don't know how they fixed it. Probably just because there was a lot more color on everything. But there was more than once in 2016 where they had some kind of thing you were supposed to interact with that only had like a subtle glow around it that you would just miss. I know there was even a blue key card that was out in the red desert that Mars desert, whatever, that I missed because I didn't see it as I was running around. I'm pretty sure they fixed all that in Eternal. And that's more of a me problem. Like, obviously not everybody's colorblind and not everybody's going to have that problem. Like, dumbass, just get those fucking glasses. Like,
but still, I think it's a major problem when you're looking at the same tinted color or environment for 3, 4, 5 levels in a row. And they fixed the keycard problem in Doom Eternal because they went back to the old school icons. Like it was a floating object rotating on the ground. Like it was the 90s again. How does that make sense in real life? I don't know.
Well, even better, how does that make sense? I don't care, because Doom is fun. It doesn't need to make sense if it's a good design element. Because so many games nowadays go for that whole cinematic thing, and they have to, whenever they put in something new, it's gotta be within the lore of the universe. I'm gonna pick on Dead Space here for a moment, but like, I think Dead Space does it well, but everything in Dead Space is within the universe. So anything you see in Dead Space is something Isaac can see. And so like the health bars on people's backs are things they can see, or the heads up display when you open up your inventory is a thing they can see. It's like, I don't give a shit. Like, it's cool and I love it. It's cool, definitely. And I think there's a ton of work involved in that. One of my favorite things is like the diegetic elements of like Breath of the Wild, but you don't need to do it. And if your game is going to suffer because you have to make those choices, fuck it. Just make it in a way that doesn't make sense because it's good. And that's what Doom Eternal and Doom 2016 do. It's like, why do enemies drop health when you kill them? Who gives a shit? It's good. It feels so much more fun to kill an enemy and be rewarded for it immediately than it is to something like Halo, where if you're on a harder difficulty, you can't run into a group of enemies without getting yourself killed because your shields will go down, and then your health will go down, and you'll just die. Where Eternal is, or not, sorry, not Eternal, where 2016 and Eternal are, if you run into a group of enemies and your health starts getting low, those enemies will start dropping health. Or you've got things like the Flame Belch in Eternal, where you can start getting shields off of it if you need those instead, or you can freeze enemies to stop them, or whatever. Like, they make it fun to play and rewarding to be aggressive, because that's how Doomguy is. It's not one of those things where it's like, oh, your character's unstoppable, but in reality, you're going to be spending a lot of time behind cover. Because even Halo has that problem on harder difficulties. Eternal I keep saying Eternal. Doom does not have that problem. And that's what makes it so a huge breath of fresh air to play. And that's what I missed, having played so many shit games recently. Because, like, I get it, people enjoy that. I don't. I don't enjoy Red Dead Redemption 2, or I don't enjoy any fucking thing by David Cage, or any of those Telltale games. Those are boring to all hell. Those make me want to hit my head against my desk. And more power to you if you like those things. My opinion shouldn't be your opinion. Please don't make my opinion your opinion. But I love Doom.
And that's exactly what I felt, because I do like not all the David Cage games. We're not going to talk about the Indigo Prophecy, okay? But, Detroit Become Human was a ton of fun. I love it. But you're right, because I know what you value, which is gameplay, is that there is no gameplay in those games. It's not a game, really, which brings us back to the really game journalist quote of Doom 2016 is a game. And you feel that. And I wanted to draw the parallel that we were talking about with Apex Legends. It's so fun to play Apex Legends because you feel like it's an advantage to engage people in a lot of ways, whether it's to level up your equipment or get better guns or get a better armor, whatever it is, you want to shoot at people. And for that matter, Doom doesn't have cover. There's no cover to hide behind. It's an arena. You get dropped in, you can't leave, you better fight. That's the only way you're getting out of there.
Yeah, if your health is getting low, you run. You don't sit and hide, because they'll come for you.
Yeah, and it's so fun, it's so energetic to, really be playing a game. Constantly you're jumping, Eternal, you're dashing, and you're moving and interacting and searching. Every part of the game from top to bottom is designed so that you are doing something, minus the lore drops that they give you. And in Eternal we have cutscenes which are cool, but it just feels good. It feels like you are the Doomslayer, even if it is hard. So I recently played on, what did we say? Ultraviolence? Yeah. Whatever the hard level difficulty is. And it did feel rewarding after you died and died time again to get back and actually beat a boss or an encounter. Now, I will say, I know you were having fun while recording, but there was nothing more painful than seeing you have to replay an arena like 3 times. It was painful to watch.
Yeah, so 2016, I think the more gameplay you get into a game when somebody just has to watch is the more boring it gets, because part of the fun of CAS is playing these games that are really bad but also cinematic experiences. So everybody is experiencing the same thing. It's like we can just sit and make fun of the cutscenes. But with Doom, I'm the only one having fun with Doom because I'm playing the game. Everyone else is looking at basically nothing. They're just watching me slay demons for like 20 minutes. It's like, that's not super engaging to look at. It's super engaging to play. So Eternal has a little more engaging story, so I think that'll be a little bit more fun to sit and watch. But I can totally understand you being bored watching me, especially if I'm not very good at it.
Yeah, you'd get to the last 2 demons and get killed and reset. Yeah, that was painful.
Because it's like, yeah, imagine watching an average player playing through Dark Souls. Like, that's not enjoyable.
God.
People watch the guy who can do it with blindfolded with a guitar controller. Like, that's entertaining. I don't want to watch the guy, fucking Joe Bob over here who got it for the first time, who's an okay gamer because he plays on the weekends. Like, it's going to take him a while and it's going to be really boring. Like, I totally understand that.
I want to talk about boss fights as well, because I think there's a lost art to boss fights, and we see this problem. It's a huge problem in Halo. I think that's the terminology.
Yeah, Halo has some crappy boss fights.
Some really shitty boss fights. And I think it's in games in general, boss fights have really fallen out of the way.
Because you really have to dedicate a lot of time to a boss fight, because part of what makes a boss fight fun is how different it is from regular gameplay. So I can understand from a design perspective why it's hard to make a boss fight, because you have to make something that's using the abilities that you've learned through playing so far, but in a way that differentiates it from the typical gameplay that you've already been doing, and also in a way that makes it rewarding for being able to get through it. So 2016 hits that for most of the part. I think the fighting the two thingies, I don't know what they are, I think that was not the best boss fight. It was good, but the fact that I had to keep track of two things, and I'm sure people are going to be like, well, you're just kind of a dumbass and you've got really crappy reaction time. Like, I get it. I'm not amazing at Doom. But the Cyber Demon fight, so much fun. And the Spider Mastermind fight was good. I think the Cyber Demon fight was better. But those two thingies throwing things at me where I'd have to like constantly be turning left and right to keep track of where they were, and then hit me constantly in the back with projectiles I wasn't paying attention to because I couldn't split my attention like that. I think that was a little not great.
They're called Hell Guards. Just for posterity, they're Hell Guards. Yeah, and even the Cyber Demon, was fantastic. I mean, I can't remember the last time I saw a multi-phase boss fight in a video game. Yeah, it really throws me off. Rattling through some of the games that I played, Subnautica, nah. Halo, nah.
Yeah, you mostly get it from like third-person action games. So there's like Devil May Cry has multi-stage boss fights. I can't really remember like what other third-person action games, but you don't really get that from FPS anymore because that it's hard to do a boss fight in first person.
Yeah, I think that's the qualifier is FPS specifically, because obviously Knights of the Old Republic I just played, there were boss fights in it, okay? I know the Soulsborne universe in general is all boss fights.
About their boss fights, yeah.
So FPS specifically, something that in the 90s and early 2000s was a staple, and Doom showed that it was still good in 2016 and then 2020.
It almost makes me sad that other games haven't tried to emulate Doom 2016, or if they're going to at all, because it was like, when Halo came out, games were immediately hopping on that Halo train. Like, Call of Duty came because of Halo, like the way that Call of Duty played, and then they iterated on that and it became their own thing. So it was like Call of Duty versus Halo. Well, when Doom came out, we didn't see a bunch of Doom clones, which I think they probably wouldn't have been great, but Doom Eternal is almost like that game. It's like, Apex is the battle royale that built off of other battle royales and improved the systems to make it unique and fun. Doom Eternal built off of the systems for Doom and made that unique and fun. I think other companies could also do that and have their own fresh perspective on it, but nobody's doing it because everybody knows that like the Last of Us way of designing the game, where it's like a big, seamless, long experience where there's characters that you can get invested in and you play for like 30 hours, is what sells. Doom also sells! So like, come on!
Yeah, I totally agree. It's super sad that I want to see how long. Oh, wow. So the Doom Eternal campaign was 15 and a half hours. I wanted to put into perspective. And, I played Knights of the Old Republic for nearly 30 hours recently. It was nearly twice the game.
Yeah, so I think Eternal was about twice as long as Doom 2016. I beat it in 6 hours? Holy shit, Doom was short.
Really?
This is new information to me. I didn't realize I beat Doom in 6 hours. Wow.
World record. No.
So it's almost triple? And also you went for secrets and things.
Yeah, I wasn't doing a rush playthrough.
I was doing a rush playthrough of 2016. So
yeah, so say double.
I think a more casual run of Doom 2016 probably would be about double, because it's probably about 8 to 10 hours for Doom 2016. Also, playing on Ultraviolence would net you probably another 1 to 2 hours. So I would say a relaxed, like normal playthrough of 2016 can run you 10 to 12 hours. So in that respect, Eternal's probably not that much longer.
Okay, yeah, maybe.
But holy shit, I didn't realize I beat it in 6 hours. Like, that's nuts. Another underrated thing that Doom and Eternal do is they don't have big seamless levels. They have bits where you win a level, and it's like, okay, do you want to take a break now? It's like, yes, I do. Thank you. I've spent 25 minutes doing this level. I do want to take a break. And Eternal even goes a step further where they've got the hub area. So it's like, you can take a break, get some of your rewards that we got for you in this level. You can go over to your little things and get some rewards for that. Like, just chill. It's like, yes, I will.
I feel like that's also something that's fallen by the wayside, is levels. And oh, here's a game that we're going to make and it's 10 levels long. We even say that with Halo, is even when Halo 4 and 5 came out. Oh, they're 8 or 10 levels each. That's kind of archaic nowadays, it feels like. It still works. It still works. And I bring it back to the conversation of, I wish companies would emulate this. Stop falling into a trend.
And with the whole it just works is, I think there was a time where it was like, these mechanics never fell out of being good. They fell out of fashion. So it was like, these mechanics never turned bad. They were always good. People just stopped doing them for some reason. I guess, like, I partially blame the success of Halo. Like, Halo was an entirely different direction for things, and like that's where FPSs just went. And I don't know. Like, I'm not gonna say like it's squarely on Halo, because obviously there's other things. Like, Halo sold, so other companies wanted to emulate that, and they did. But Doom sells. Make more Doom style games, please. Like, the closest we've got now is maybe Wolfenstein, and even that is more cinematic focused, and also by Bethesda publisher. Like, this is by id, and Wolfenstein's by a different company. I can't remember. Which originally Wolfenstein was by id.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was getting ready to say it's by id, but I stopped myself.
Doom, Quake, and Wolfenstein were all made by id originally. I think id only does Doom now. I don't know if they did Quake Champions. They might have, but Wolfenstein's definitely another company.
Hey, I'm looking forward to the next Doom game now, honestly. Hopefully we only have 3 years to go.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited.
There's still a lot of lore to explore and demons to kill. I mean, we stopped in Doom Eternal, we stopped the recreation.
The longer the icon of sin remains on Earth, the more powerful it will become. Yeah, shut up, Sam.
God, he said it 4 times in that single level. That was so funny.
Yeah, that became a big meme.
We still have the Dark Lord to contest with.
Well, that's solved in one of the DLCs.
Oh shit, I've not done the DLC. Fuck. Okay, I'll shut the fuck up and I'll play those next time.
But also, I've heard the DLCs aren't great. I don't know specifically why. Because I've been having real issues with Real Thoughts ending without having like a wrap up. I'll just like randomly end it. Do you recommend Doom 2016?
Absolutely. But play it before Eternal.
Yes. If you're going to play Doom 2016,
play 2016, then go play Eternal.
Because if you haven't played them, I don't know why you're watching this review. Because, I don't know why you're watching this Real Thoughts. I don't want people to think this is a review. These are my thoughts. These are my opinions. These are not objective. This is like I can say objective things about the game and I can articulate my opinion well. Don't take my opinion as gospel. Don't think that just because I didn't like it or I did like it that you will. You know your own taste and you have your trusted reviewers that you like to watch. Don't make me one of those because I have a really specific taste. Because I've seen some comments on the other Halos where like people disagree with me, and that's totally fine. Like, I want people to disagree with me because I think it's important that people formulate their own opinion about something. If you agree with me, that's fine. I just want you to know why you agree or disagree with me, because I think being able to articulate your opinion on something is good. It's like, well, I think it sucks, doesn't tell you why. It's like, well, I think it's bad because of these specific reasons. Like, I can articulate exactly why I don't like ODST, and people can articulate to me why they do like ODST for those same reasons that I don't like it, and I can totally understand that. But then there are people who are like, well, I like ODST because it's different. It's like, well, that doesn't tell me anything. That's a nothing opinion. And you can totally still have that, but I don't hold as much weight to those opinions because they don't tell me anything about why you like it.
So to wrap it up.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I'm rambling. This is not even Doom related.
Right there. A totally play Doom 2016. Absolutely go and do it.
If you haven't already.
Yeah, if you haven't already, what are you doing? It is a breath of fresh air as far as game mechanics and FPS specifically. It shows that older mechanics, things that we've not seen since the early 2000s and the 90s, are still viable and still really fun and should be valid design decisions for games going in the future. And honestly, talking about 2016 and Eternal in general, these are some of the most fun I've had in games, period.
Yeah, Eternal definitely is in my top 5 games. And my top 5 of games is really weird, and I can talk about that some other time. Being able to talk about my favorite games and why I like them, and people will just shit on me for my opinions, of course, because whatever. But I don't care. Being able to articulate why I like those games, and maybe other people will also agree or disagree. And it's interesting for me to read opinions that disagree with me that can talk about why. Because I totally understand why. I understand why people like Halo 4, because some people are able to articulate to me what it is about Halo 4 they like. When you say, I like the gameplay, it's like, I don't know what that means. But anyways, I'm rambling again.
So your recommendation and why? Why your opinion?
I recommend Doom 2016 because it is a game, which I've already elaborated on. So you understand. It's a game, play it. You will play it.
Simple as that.